Hello everyone, here's a little explanatory video about VoceVista and about harmonics and resonances, and hopefully this will clear up some of the things we were talking about in class today. So anyway, here goes. You can see on the right hand side of the screen there's a moving display which is changing as I speak. And so this is the spectrum, hence the name down at the bottom. And so we have frequency running from left to right, so low frequencies to high frequencies. And this line of dots, this is 1,000 hertz, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and then 5,000 is off the screen. And then relative intensity, so the loudest that something could be, this would be at the top, and then this is down 10 decibels from that, down 20, down 30, down 40, down 50, and so on. So each one of the dots is 10 decibel difference, and then 1,000 hertz, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000. Then over on the left-hand side of the screen is the spectrogram. So if you imagine, I'm going to freeze the screen here for just a second. So I'll sing a vowel. Ah, and I'm going to freeze it there. And you'll notice, so this is the fundamental that I was singing, which 218. So yeah, just a little shy of right around A3. The A below middle C. So that's my fundamental. Here's my second harmonic, which is going to be double that. Third harmonic, which is triple that. Fourth harmonic, which is 4 times the fundamental frequency, and so on. So if you notice, this first one and third one and fifth one are really strong. Now if you look over on this screen, you'll notice that the first, fifth, and fifth ones have the hottest color. You can see some red, and it's really bright yellow. Okay, so this image over on the right-hand side is showing the relative intensities of each one of these harmonics, right? Okay, because again we have frequency, intensity. So this one is more intense than this one because it's a higher peak. Over here we've got low frequencies to high frequencies running this away. Intensity is shown by how hot the color is. So you'll notice right in here, and as I move this green cursor, vertical cursor on the right hand side of the screen, you'll notice that the little horizontal cursor on the other screen is also moving. Okay? So you can see as I move lower to higher that the horizontal cursor is moving as well. And that these harmonics here are of low intensity, and you'll notice it's a darker, cooler color. Okay, so far we've got frequency running this way and intensity, and over here frequency and intensity is then how hot the color is, and then time is running on the horizontal axis. So now we have frequency, intensity by how hot the color is, and time. And so you can see things are squiggling up and down. Well, that's my vibrato rate. Okay, that's my vibrato, and my pitch swings up and down with my vibrato. Then up here in the upper right, upper left corner, this is the waveform. This is literally a graph of the movement of the little diaphragm in the microphone. We won't look too much at that one for now. So as I go back to singing, I'm going to do a pattern of vowels, and notice what happens to the spectrum over here. So when I'm doing my E vowel, you'll notice there's 2 harmonics here that are really strong at a fairly low frequency. Then there's a really strong one here up at around 2,000 hertz. And there's some strong ones here, and then there's another set of more strong ones here. The most important ones that we're going to concern ourselves right now are this low frequency area and this area around here. Now as I go to the A vowel, these two are about even with each other, so we still have something kind of on the low end. We still have something fairly high, but it's shifted a little bit. If you notice there, it's up at about 2,000 hertz, and when I go here, you'll notice, yeah, that peak is just a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. Then when I go to do the ah, very, very different. Now we see kind of a cluster of higher intensity harmonics here. Here's the O, and then oo. You see kind of some low, and then just something here about 1,000, and then it really falls off after that. It's probably more clear if I do that in vocal fry, because that fills in the gaps between the harmonics. So I'm going to do the same pattern of vowels, e, a, ah, o, oo, but I'm going to do it in vocal fry this time. E, a, ah, o, oo. All right, so here's E, A, Ah, O, and oo. We can smooth that out by adjusting some of the analysis parameters just a little bit. So I'm going to change this one thing. It's going to average it over a little bit longer span of time. I'm going to do that again. All right, so there's E. Yep, and by changing that, of course, that also changed how I'm able to scroll through it. You might be able to see here, though, on this spectrogram that there are, as I change the vowels, some of those hot spots change. E, A, Ah, O, oo. So we're seeing that first resonance change, E, A, Ah, O, oo. And the second resonance changing, it's stepping downward as we go across. And then the third resonance you can kind of see moving around there, and 4 and 5 are kind of up there ghosty. This is one that's kind of fun. I'm going to go back and forth between an E and an Ah, and the spectrogram thing is going to kind of look like Swiss cheese. All right? E, ah, e, ah, e, ah, e, ah, e, ah. Now you're probably thinking that's the weirdest looking Swiss cheese I've ever seen in my life. But at any rate, so here's E, and then Ah. That first resonance is moving up and down. There it's down for E, it's up for Ah, down for E, up for Ah. And the second resonance is up for E, down for Ah, up for E, down for Ah. And what's my tongue doing? Well, my tongue is high and front in my mouth here, so we get a big space behind the hump of my tongue. So that first resonance is low. And then the space in front of the hump of my tongue is small, so that second resonance is really high. Then when I go to Ah, the first resonance moves up, the second resonance comes down. They're close to each other. And that's really all we're seeing alternating there is the movement of those first and second resonances. Now here's another way maybe to look at some things in terms of the boosting of harmonics when they're near resonances. So I'm going to change the analysis here one more time so that we can see some things above and below. So I'm going to sing a vowel, and then I'm going to drop into fry. And I'll show you how where the harmonics are strongest relates very closely to where those resonances of the vowel are. So I'm going to sing an ah vowel and then drop into fry. Here we go. Ah. All right. And then we're going to store that down below. And if I look up here, yes, I have to do reset because that's a bug in the program. Let's try this again. All right. And one more bit of resetting. All right, that should do it. And we'll change that just a little bit. Okay. That should all do it. So we'll hit reset one more time. All right, so I'm going to sing, and then I'll drop into fry. All right, and we're going to store that. And so, yes, once again, so I've got the, down here in the lower panel, that's just an artifact of me doing vocal fry. But there's a peak here about 700, and then there's a second peak here around 1200, and then there's a third peak here about 2700. Now, if I unfreeze, but we can, well, kind of mark where 682 on that one, shift it up. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to unfreeze and I'm going to sing that ah again. Ah. And you'll notice that this harmonic right here is really quite strong. This one again is the fundamental that I'm singing. This harmonic is really strong, and that's really close to this peak. Okay, and then these two are both kind of equally strong, and that's pretty close to that second resonance. And then look out here, there's a harmonic here and a harmonic here that are both really strong, and they are right in the vicinity of that peak. So the harmonics that are closest to those resonance peaks then are going to be boosted. Let's see another example. I'm going to do that with an E vowel. All right, so we're going to store that one down there, so we can see that we have, again, this is an artifact of me doing vocal fry. So we've got a resonance there at about 315, 316. We have something here at around just a little below 2000. There's something here around 2700. There's another peak here about 3200, and then there's a big broad peak, which is probably two resonances that are close together and kind of smearing together, about 4000. Okay, now we've got that stored. I'm going to unfreeze and sing an E vowel right above that. And again, if we go in here and we're looking, yeah, and that has to do with some of my analysis settings, but this is the fundamental that I'm doing, and it's averaging. I'm going to redo this in just a moment with some different settings on the analysis. So these two harmonics that are close to the first vowel resonance there are getting boosted. And then you'll notice that this one, just a little below 2000, aligns very much with this one. And we've got a peak out here. It's picking up, it's getting boosted by probably this one mostly, and a little bit from this one. All right, I'm going to change our analysis settings one more time. This will perhaps make things just a little more clear. So again, I'll do the same thing. And we're going to store that below. And going to play the top one again. So again, I'll do the same thing. Alright, so here I have the sung portion, and I can kind of move around in it a little bit thanks to some changes on my settings. And this, however, the settings make the fry spectrum a little more rough. But anyway, you can see that there's a peak right around here, and lo and behold, you know, those two harmonics that are close to that are getting boosted. Here's a peak out here right around 2000 like we saw before. And lo and behold, that one's really strong. And then we have some strong resonances in here, and we can see some high frequency stuff getting boosted just as well. So that's just a little bit of a review of some of the things we talked about in class today. One last thing that I wanted to demonstrate, and that is this notion that, you know, we're capable of keeping the same vowel and changing frequency, and then keeping the same frequency and changing vowels. So let's look at that over time. So if I, first of all, keep the same vowel and change frequency, all right, so we'll store that one. So that's me changing keeping the same vowel or a very similar vowel and changing the frequency. Here's the top of it, and you can see each harmonic here, 267. Yeah, each harmonic, you know, is about 260 hertz apart, while down here at the lower note, each harmonic is going to be about 160 hertz apart. All right, so the vowel stayed the same, but which harmonic was lining up with one of those resonances is changing. Now, on the other hand, if I unfreeze, now I'm going to maintain frequency constant, change the vowel. And I don't know why, but my software just glitched. We'll try that again. And so as we go through, there's E. Frequency is not changing, but the spectrum is changing because the vowel is changing. So the shape that I'm sending those frequencies through is changing, and thus we hear different vowels. One other display, since you guys have learned, you know, that timbre is related to wave shape, I thought it might be interesting for you guys just to see that right here. So we'll do it with this setting. Oh, and one other thing I want to change. All right. So I'm going to do different vowels, and we're going to look at how this audio, this is the wave, the audio wave here, changes as I change the vowels. So here I am, that's my E vowel versus A versus A versus O and U. Notice it's a much more simple looking wave on U versus like the A or the A or the E. And we will try to figure out why that is together in class, but I just wanted to show you a little highlight of that. So thanks if you've stuck with me this long, and I look forward to seeing you guys in class on Monday.